me do that stupid thing where I check to make sure my sound is good. Okay, yeah, my sound's good. Oh. Hello. So, story time. Um, I filmed and had pretty much my entire Batman ranking made, and then Adobe Premiere Pro decided to crash and I lost all my progress, resulting in me losing over an hour and a half of work in editing, and I am extremely frustrated with that, and I don't have it in me to re-edit that. Yeah, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, that that is how that is how my night has played out. So yeah, I'm not very happy about that. But I still wanted to bring this ranking to everyone, so I've decided to do it live. Just save my time and just do it this way. So yeah. Anyways, with all that unpleasantness of the evening out of the way, we can dive into this. So yeah, so the Batman, the new one that just came out today, I saw it last night, is my second most anticipated movie of the year, and um yeah, so I was pretty hyped to see this. Didn't really see any of the trailer stuff, really tried to avoid all that before seeing this. And so yeah, went into this one pretty blind. What did I think about it? You'll find out in a little bit. Woot. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm gonna try and say the same things I said on that video, but whatever. Anyways, coming in last place is the theatrically released Justice League. I don't really know what I have to say about this. It pretty much speaks for itself. This is one of the most cynical things ever done in Hollywood, where Zack Snyder's version of Justice League literally got destroyed by Warner Brothers, and this movie is flat out unwatchable to me. I refuse to rewatch this movie. I didn't rewatch this movie for this list, and yeah, I hate this movie. This is one of my least favorite comic book movies of all time. Um, Next up, we have Batman and Robin. This is a movie I had seen before years ago, so remembered absolutely nothing about it. And this movie's basically a live-action cartoon. Like, I no, it's so bad. There's zero plot or story in this movie, and yeah, the acting is not good. I love Arnold and love George Clooney, but they are not good in this movie. This movie's an utter train wreck. It's also pretty cynical, as they made it just to sell toys. Like, that's on record. So yeah, didn't enjoy Batman and Robin. There's like no entertainment value in how bad it is. It doesn't hit that full loop where it's so bad it's good. We have a comment. I like the Batman, my second favorite, but Dark Knight still holds number one for me. We'll see if I agree. Next up, which is leading us into 12th place, is going to be Batman 1966. Yeah, I don't have much to say on this. I can't get into this movie. It took me 2 watches to get through this movie. I couldn't get into this movie for the life of me. Um, it is extremely campy and extremely slapstick. Like, when he's running around with that bomb, and it goes on for, like, what feels like 5 minutes, and he's just like, well, some days you can't get rid of a bomb. Like, sure, maybe that would have been funny in 1966, but it's been about 60 years since then. Personally, I don't find that funny. But yeah. So I can definitely understand why some people appreciate this movie if they grew up with that TV show or they like movies from that era. But for me personally, I can't get into that movie whatsoever. Coming in 11th place is going to be Batman Forever. This is also one of those movies that I did see when I was a kid, but remembered absolutely jack from it. So, yeah. This one, unlike Batman and Robin, is at least entertaining. I can watch this one and be entertained by it. Is it good? No, but I'm entertained by it. Jim Carrey, I think, is very miscast as Riddler. I just don't think his shtick that he had going at that time really fit the Riddler at all, especially after seeing what the Riddler can be in the Batman that we just got. His version of Riddler does not hold up at all. And I honestly forget that Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie as Two-Face. Like, it's Tommy Lee Jones. You don't forget Tommy Lee Jones does a movie. And I frequently forget that Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie. Like, yeah. So, Batman Forever, entertainingly bad, but still bad. And I do enjoy Val Kilmer in the role of Batman. He's not my favorite, but he could have done a lot worse. Like George Clooney pad levels in Batman and Robin. Love George Clooney, but dang. Alright, bringing us into the top 10, we got Batman Returns. Honestly, my main negative with this movie is Christopher Walken's character. I despise his character in this movie. I made several references when I was filming my bits for it that I actually wanted to shut my TV off and stop watching the movie every single time Christopher Walken's character came on screen. Like, is atrocious. Like, his character. I hate his character. He's one of my least favorite characters in cinematic history. No, like, literally, it knocks it down at least 2 or 3 spots. Christopher Walken's character. You take his character out, and I enjoy this movie a lot more. Yeah, it's weird how stuff like that works. But yeah, Michael Keaton's still pretty good in this movie. Penguin is decent, but really odd. Catwoman, decent again, but really odd. Still like Tim Burton's direction and stuff. Definitely darker. This is kind of what Batman has become now, where it's like really dark tone and stuff. Especially with like Penguin's plot of wanting to kill all the children in the city. Like, that's pretty dark. So yeah, Batman Returns. It's a decent enough Batman movie. Next up, we have Batman Mask of the Phantasm. This is the animated movie from the 90s, based off of the animated series from the 90s. Whoa, right? This one was theatrically released, too. And that's why it's included on this list. These are all theatrically released movies except for one, which we'll get to in a while. Anyways, yeah, this was pretty surprising to me because I expected nothing of this. I expected to hate it. Excuse me. And it was actually pretty decent. Didn't really like the out of order storytelling. Sorry, I had to cough. So yeah, didn't really like the out of order storytelling. Felt kind of weird to me. There was something else that bugged me about this movie, but I don't remember it, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's just kind of generic Batman stuff in my mind. Like, it's good, but it's not something I'm yearning to rewatch over anything I have at the top of this above it in this list. So yeah, a decent enough Batman movie if you liked that animated series. I've never seen it, but I'd say that this is definitely worth checking out. If you like Batman, it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Batman v Superman. This is the most frustrating movie on this list to me. There are so many things that I love in this movie. Like, you get the Batman warehouse scene, you get the complex storytelling, which I love complex storytelling. Batman fighting Superman is awesome. Like, so many awesome things in this movie. And it's directed by Zack Snyder. I love Zack Snyder's, like, visual storytelling style. It's phenomenal. Love that guy. He's becoming one of my favorite directors, honestly. Anyways, yeah, so those are things I love about the movie. But then when it's a Justice League setup movie, Wonder Woman setup movie, Death of Superman movie, Batman v Superman movie, like, that is at least 2 movies worth of plot jammed into one movie. Like, what? This movie's biggest problem is that there's way too much plot in this movie. Yeah, it. As soon as I watched it, I had this great analogy in my mind. It's like, yo, it's like a burrito, right? You can only put so much into it before it starts overflowing, but it all tastes really good, right? I like all the stuff, and Zack Snyder handles it as best as he could, but this movie just starts falling apart because of how much there is in it. But it's still good, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that weird analogy made sense. So, yeah, every time I watch this movie, I like it. The things I like even more, and the things I dislike even more. Like, it's just, the gap is growing pretty much every single time I watch this movie. So, yeah. Next up is my first controversial placement, and that's going to be Batman Begins. Yeah. I know this is a favorite of a lot of people, and I do really like this movie. From here on up are all movies I freaking love, right? Batman Begins, my favorite thing about this movie is that it shows Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. Every other iteration of Batman is just Bruce Wayne's parents died, now he is Batman. Like, there's a huge thing in the middle of there, like, how do you get all the gadgets, how do you learn to fight people, all this stuff. In this movie, it explains that and explores it with the League of Shadows and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's the thing I like most about this movie. The thing that holds this movie back from the being above the movie that's next on my list is that the whole ending with Ra's al Ghul's plan and stuff just never really, I can never really buy it, I guess, and it just, I just can't get into it, right? It just sucks me out of the movie. So, small nitpick, but otherwise I really do enjoy this movie. Next up, we have The Dark Knight Rises. This is the movie in the Dark Knight trilogy I am least familiar with. I've seen it the fewest times, but I really enjoy it every time I watch it. Yeah, love Bane as a villain. He's great in this movie. Batman, great. This is probably the best that the fight scenes are in any of the Nolan trilogies. He doesn't have multiple trilogies. Anyways, yeah, this is the best that the fight scenes have been in any of the Nolan trilogies. What else? Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like this movie gets way more hate than it deserves. I know I'm on an island with that, but I really like this movie. I don't know. That's just me. Yeah. A few negative things, I guess, about this that I don't like, is the whole Alfred plot line, whatever you want to call it. Don't really buy that. Also, what else was I gonna say? Oh, yes, this is the another big thing. How did I forget this? the whole middle part where Batman just goes into this hole in the middle of the desert, like, what? I, what? No. I don't like that. Anyways, that's The Dark Knight Rises. There's another chat here. The new Batman is sick, but The Dark Knight is best. Love Robert Pattinson's performance as the new Batman. Do I agree or disagree? We'll find out in a little bit. Anyways, top 5. Coming in 5th place is going to be the Lego Batman movie. Yes, I love this movie. This movie is the most fun movie on this entire list because you get all the other Warner Brothers properties thrown into the mix, like Lord of the Rings stuff. You got Harry Potter stuff in there, King Kong in there, and Agent Smith from The Matrix is in there. So yeah, a lot of fun with all this crazy zany Lego stuff thrown into the mix, but also it tells a really nice story of Bruce Wayne needing to learn how to work with others and have other people in his life. I thought it was a really nice story and something that, to my knowledge, hasn't been explored in any of these other movies, but, I could be missing something. I'm not the smartest. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, Lego Batman movie. Definitely worth it. Watch. Even if you're like, ew, animated movie, that's stupid. It's like, no, it's really good, though. Yeah. Don't really have any big negatives with this one, though. So, yeah. Next up. Hold up. I think I have to burp. Okay. Here, I need to get some water. Woo. Dang, excuse me for that burp. Anyways, coming in 4th place is going to be Batman 1989. I have always loved this movie. Michael Keaton, my favorite Bruce Wayne. Yeah, love Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. He's not my favorite Batman, but he is damn good as Batman. Love Jack Nicholson as an actor, and he does phenomenal as a Joker. Like, he immediately set the bar for how awesome Batman villains need to be right out of the gate. Like, if you're not, he's obviously the best villain of all the movies from the 90s. Those that run of 4 movies. And no one even comes close to what Jack Nicholson did as the Joker in that. So, I guess that can kind of hurt the other movies, but I think that props this movie up is that Jack Nicholson was the best Batman villain right out of the gate. I've always had fun with this movie. I get the criticism that the plot is pretty sporadic and not really coherent at parts, but understand that. I acknowledge that. I just have fun with this movie. I love this movie so much. It's one of my favorite Batman movies. Obviously, why did I say that? It's literally at number 4 out of 14 on this list. That's pretty freaking good. So yeah, I love this movie. I don't really care about the criticisms. Honestly, this is the one movie on this list that I genuinely do not care what the criticisms are to this movie. I love it all the same. Alright, top 3. My first place is pretty solid on where it's going to be. It'll probably always be there. But my number 2 and number 3 are pretty interchangeable, and they have changed numerous times over the past 24 hours now. Like, it is ridiculously close between number 2 and number 3. Like, these, you ask me again tomorrow, and I might flip them. Like, it's actually that close. But At the end of the day, you gotta pick one, right? When I'm doing an epic ranking. So, coming in third place is going to have to be The Batman that just got released today. Yeah, this movie was awesome. It is not your typical Batman movie where it's like comic book action movie. This is straight up a detective movie, very reminiscent of Seven and Zodiac, like everyone has been saying, and I completely agree with that. This is the darkest Batman movie we've ever seen. I am genuinely shocked that this movie did not receive an R rating. Like, the Riddler is straight up Jigsaw in this movie. Like, it's so cool to say that as a horror fan, that Jigsaw is basically a Batman villain in the new Batman movie. But yeah, the acting in this movie is freaking phenomenal, man. When I first heard that, the dude from Twilight's gonna be Batman, I was like, what type of crack have they been smoking at Warner Brothers? They must have dipped into some of that crack they were smoking back in 2017 when they were talking about Justice League. But anyways, yeah, I was blown away by this movie. It's like Batman noir, right? Batman noir crime thriller. It's it's so good. I legitimately want to see this again in theaters. What else about it? Also, my favorite scene from this whole movie is when, like, it's not really like a spoiler, but like Batman's sitting there in the Batmobile just like revving the engine. It's like a minute solid of him just revving the engine, and you just like feel the engine revving, and you're like, oh yeah, this is about to happen. And then what ensues is like the best action sequence in the movie with this epic car chase. It's so good. That's my favorite sequence in the whole movie. I have two negatives with this movie. First negative, I think they should have put the villains in this movie more. Second negative, I couldn't tell you what the climax of this movie is, because this movie just stays steady with the level of tension throughout the entire thing. There's like no peak in the tension, none of that stuff. I don't feel like this movie has a climax. I just feel like it hits a certain level and then it just plateaus for the rest of the movie. Those are two very small nitpicks, in my opinion. So, excellent movie. Please go check it out if you have time. And even if you don't have time, make time and go see it. Anyways, coming in second place is going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League. This was one of the biggest surprises of last year. I expected nothing from this movie. Was I excited to see this? Heck yes. I wanted to see what Warner Brothers destroyed 4 years prior. And I sat down the afternoon this came out on my couch at home with my phone in front of my face for 4 hours straight watching this movie. And I loved every single second of it. There is absolutely nothing in Justice League 2017 that I would take over anything in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It improves on the theatrical release in every single way imaginable. Like, yeah. This movie deserves the term epic. Like, legitimately, I know I use the term epic all the time as like complete satire, but in a literal sense, this movie is epic in scale, size, scope, everything you want to say. It's awesome. Every character gets full character arcs. Even some of the side characters get character arcs. All the plot lines and plot threads from Zack Snyder's previous 2 movies are tied up beautifully in this movie. This honestly is one of the best superhero movies of all time. I absolutely adore this movie. Um, with all that being said, I didn't rewatch this movie for this list because it is 4 hours long. That is the movie's biggest weakness, is that it is long. It is a huge commitment to sit down and watch this movie. Yeah, but 4 hours of awesomeness, but 4 hours nonetheless. Which leads us to number one, which before I start praising this movie, I'm going to drink some water. Excuse me. Anyways, coming in first place is The Dark Knight. When I was putting this list together, I had no question what would be number one. I hate to be this way, but walking into The Batman, this new one, I was 99.9% sure it would not take the first spot. I hate to be that way, kind of predetermining a placement of a movie before I see it, but yeah. The Dark Knight. It is one of the most celebrated comic book movies of all time, and literally everything good anyone says about this movie, I 100% agree with. And however, I have this movie at number one, and it will stay at number one for as long as I can foresee, is because of nostalgia. Quite literally, this is the comic book movie I grew up on. You can see Love Infinity War is my favorite movie of all time. Dark Knight, that's not MCU. MCU is your favorite film franchise of all time, Fox. Why, how did you grow up on The Dark Knight? The Dark Knight released when I was 6. I didn't really get into the MCU until I was like 12 or whatever, right? So, yeah, you got 6 years there where I didn't watch the MCU movies. I watched The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight alone. This is the definitive comic book movie of my childhood. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've watched this movie, and every single time I watch this movie, I love it. Yeah. Nostalgia is pretty powerful, man. I'll tell you that. It is so powerful. I love this movie so much. It means so much to me, right? Because like I just said, Infinity War is my favorite movie of all time, right? I love comic book movies. Those are my favorite genre of movie, like superhero movies. Love that. That's my favorite genre. That wouldn't be my favorite genre if I didn't watch The Dark Knight on like constant loop when I was a child. Like, The Dark Knight is responsible for that. Without The Dark Knight, that's not my favorite movie. So, this movie just means so much to me as someone who loves movies, someone who loves superhero movies. Out of every movie on this list, this movie means the most to me. Like, this movie just means so much to me personally. That's why it's number one. Not just because it's a phenomenal movie, but because of how much it means to me. That's why it's at first place. So yeah. Dang, I'm sorry again. So yeah. Sorry that this ranking isn't how I typically do them, but I was pretty frustrated with all the progress I lost, and I wanted to get this ranking out before the end of the weekend, and realistically that just wasn't going to happen with other things I have going on. So yeah, you got this awesome 30-minute live stream of me ranking the Batmans, and I'm gonna leave this live stream up so you can watch it whenever in the future. So yeah. Who So yeah. Go see the new Batman movie. It's freaking awesome. Um yeah. If you feel so inclined, go ahead down in the comments, leave your own ranking of all the Batman movies. If you haven't seen all of these, go ahead and just do the ones that you have seen or remember seeing. If it's been a long time, you don't remember what that movie's about. But yeah, hopefully this sufficed as my ranking for the Batman movies. Not really what I wanted to do, but unfortunately, this is what the circumstances called for. So yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and I have no idea when my next ranking is going to be. I don't really know what's coming out next. So yeah, it might be a while before I do a proper legit ranking, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this ranking, and I will see you guys next time.